I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can do SEO for your fashion brand. And I'm going to go through each step of the SEO process from start to finish. This is something you'd normally pay thousands of dollars to have somebody do for you. And I'm going to show you the entire process for free. So follow this process with your brand, and you're going to be able to start bringing in more organic traffic. My name is Tyler Nelbach, and I'm the founder of SEO. I help fashion e-commerce brands bring in more organic traffic and revenue with my SEO process. I've led dozens of successful SEO campaigns, and I've helped several multi-million-dollar fashion brands improve their organic traffic and revenue. So please like this video to show me you're excited, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a keyword database. So we're going to be looking at existing keywords that you're currently ranking for, but then we're also going to be looking at new opportunities. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs. Either tool is going to work just fine for this. I have SEMrush open, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste our domain name into the domain overview. And then we'll hit search. So now we're looking at basically an overview of this domain. And really the thing we're interested in right now is the keywords. So a couple different ways to access all the keywords that we're ranking for is you can either click on the organic search traffic number here, or you can scroll down to view details over here for keywords. So let's click that. Okay, now we have a list of all of the different keywords that we're ranking for. And so if we scroll down here, you can see the list of all of our different keywords, and we're going to have a bunch of different information here: position in Google that we're in, search volume, traffic we're bringing in, and these are all estimates based on your position. So it's likely not going to be perfect, but it's going to give us a fairly accurate depiction of what type of traffic we're bringing in from what type of keywords. So what we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to export this entire list. So we have here 2,823 keywords. Right over on the right side here, we have the option export. So I'm just going to go ahead and export the full list of 2,823 keywords. Okay, now I have the information put into this Google Sheet file. And so I have the keyword. This is the monthly search volume. This is a keyword difficulty on a scale of 1 to 100. 1 being it's going to be really easy to rank for this keyword. 100 being it's going to be really difficult to rank for this keyword. CPC is cost per click. This is about how much money people are paying for Google ads per click. And current position, this is just where you're currently ranked for that keyword. And in the current URL, that is just the URL that is ranking for this keyword. Now, the next thing we want to do, now that we have the existing keywords in this document, the next thing we want to do is we want to find new opportunities. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go back to SEMrush, and I'm going to hop back over to the domain overview. And on the domain overview, if we scroll down here a little ways, we're going to see the main organic competitors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the details here. Okay, now these aren't necessarily your main business competitors, but they're your main ranking competitors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over 3 competitors. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to export the keywords that they're ranking for that we aren't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, in a new tab here, I'm going to open up the keyword gap. And I'm just going to copy our top 3 competitors as far as how similar they are as far as keyword rankings. Okay, so I'm just going to grab 3 competitors, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click compare. So now we can see just kind of a visual breakdown of the keywords that we're ranking for, as well as the number of keywords our competitors are ranking for. If I scroll down, we're going to be able to see it. We're going to be looking at every single keyword here. And there's a few different ways to sort these. We're interested in is untapped. I'm going to click that. Basically what this is showing us now is it's all of the different keywords that one of our competitors is ranking for that we are not. And it could be one or several competitors, but it's just going to show us all of these different opportunities that we have not tapped into. And one thing that's important to note here is that not every single one of these keywords is going to be relevant. And that's okay, because we just want to extract and put in all of the ideas, and later we're going to go in and actually validate these to figure out which ones are relevant and which ones aren't. But right now we're just trying to gather ideas. So a couple things you can do. We have 10,900 keywords here, which is quite a lot of keywords. You can do some filtering on the screen so you have a smaller list to work with. For example, I'm just going to come up here. I'm going to maybe say keyword difficulty. I don't want to look at anything that's over 40. And we'll see what that gives us. So we still have 9,000 opportunities here. Now maybe what I'll do is I'll switch this to 30. We don't want anything over 30. And then for volume, maybe we only want to see keywords that have at least 250 searches per month. Just trying to make this list a little bit more manageable. Okay, so now we're down to 1,100 untapped keywords. This is a pretty good amount. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this list right over here with this export button, and we're going to export all of them. Okay, so now that we have our export file, I'm just going to bring these into that same Google Sheet file that we were looking at. So we have all of our keyword and data, all of that in one place. Okay, now I've added all of those new opportunities, those untapped keywords, over to this spreadsheet. And you'll notice that for these untapped opportunities, we don't have a current position or URL because we're not ranking anywhere for these keywords yet. That's why they're untapped, because we have not even considered them. So now what we have is we have a good list of keywords that we're currently ranking for, and we can identify how we want to attack those as far as improving rankings. And then we have a list of completely untapped opportunities. And so we have a really good kind of database that we can work from. And the next step is going to be prioritizing them and really mapping keywords out to specific URLs so we can figure out what exactly we want to do to try to rank higher for specific keywords or attack new keywords. So what we can do is, what I think is kind of the best way to handle this is to sort this entire sheet by URL. What that's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to see all of the keywords in one place. It's going to show us, sorted by URL. We'll be able to see all of the keywords pretty easily as far as the keywords that a particular URL is ranking for. So I'm just going to expand this so we can see the URL a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm just going to sort. So I'm just going to click on the column. I'm going to click data, sort sheet, and we'll just sort it A to Z. Perfect. Okay, so now this sheet is sorted alphabetically by URL. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the home page first, and then we're going to see, all the different pages after that. But what we're looking at is now we can see all of the keywords right in a row that we're showing up for on our home page. So goal here is to identify 2 to 3 keywords that are going to be the focus keywords on every single page. So this is going to take a little bit of time to really go through and make sure you're nailing down the right keywords, but this is one of the most important aspects of SEO, so you definitely want to make sure you get this part right. So really what you're going to do is you're going to look at 4 different things. You're going to look at the relevance of the keywords, you're going to look at the intent behind the keyword. When somebody searches at what are they looking for, you're going to look at the search volume, and you're going to look at the keyword difficulty. Those are the most important things to look at. There are other things, but if you look at those 4 different pieces, you're going to be in really good shape. So relevance, let's talk about that. So basically, you want to make sure that you're targeting keywords that are relevant to your brand. That one's pretty obvious, but it's a lot of times it's missed, so it's worth mentioning. So that's going to be the first step. So make sure the keyword is relevant that you want to target. Search intent. So make sure that the page that you have in place satisfies the search intent for the keyword. So if somebody's looking based on a search, let's just look at a couple of these, like golf clothing brand. This website does sell golf clothing. So this is a perfect match. This is a brand that sells golf clothing. So that is a perfect intent Even like luxury golf apparel brands, like this same thing, like this is luxury golf apparel. So this is a perfect intent match. Really what you want to avoid is a keyword that just doesn't make sense for, in this case, for your homepage to show up. An example of that could be how to golf. That would not make sense for at least this brand to show up for on their homepage. So just make sure the intent makes sense behind the page that you have and the keyword that's being searched. The third thing is the search volume. So this is really important because this is the frequency of how many times this keyword is actually being searched in Google per month. So you definitely want to make sure that you consider that because you want to be targeting keywords that actually get searched. And then the last thing is keyword difficulty. So this is where the balance comes into play, where you want to target keywords, ideally, that get searched a lot, that have a low keyword difficulty. That's kind of the balance you want to strike because you're going to be able to give yourself the best chance to rank because it's not difficult to rank for that keyword, but then you're also targeting keywords that actually get searched. So this can be tricky, but it's definitely important to try to find that balance so you can bring in the most amount of traffic you can with the least amount of work possible. So what you're going to do is you're just going to look through, and I'll hide these columns here. So you're just going to look through these keywords and you're going to pick out 2 to 3 keywords per URL and you're just going to mark target keyword. So luxury golf apparel brands, that one's pretty good. 480 searches per month, KD of 33, not too bad. So I might mark that one as a target keyword. High-end golf apparel, similar, kind of a different variation, but that's another one, 390 searches per month, 24 KD isn't very high, so I'll mark that one. And you're just going to want to go through each URL that you have and look at the keywords and map them out. So you can see some of the blogs up here. You'll still want to do blogs as well, but you're going to probably be more focused on your collection pages. So really look at the URL, look at the page, and look at the keywords and all this data and determine what are going to be the best 2 to 3 keywords on every single page. Super important that you do this, you take your time on this and you get it right. Because if you're not targeting the right keywords, everything you do after this is just not going to be effective. So spend some time to make sure you're targeting just good keywords on every single page, especially your transactional pages like your collection pages and your product pages. Okay, so now once you have the target keywords picked out for each of the existing pages that you have, then we're going to look for opportunities to create new content. And so we're just going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down here past, guess a couple ways you can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to do a filter. And for current URL, I'm just going to only show blanks. And so now it's going to show us all those untapped opportunities that we put in here. So the next step here is you're just going to want to go through and look at these keywords. You don't have to look through every single one of them. I know we exported over 1,000 keywords in here, but just spend some time, find, 10 to 20 different opportunities that you can go after. And then once you find opportunities that are good keywords, go ahead and check the box for create new content. And that's going to signify to us that that's a keyword that we're going to want to create new content around. And this could be a new collection page. This could be a new blog page. It doesn't really matter at this point. We just want to identify new opportunities that we can go after. Okay, now once you've gone through and you've identified 10 to 20 opportunities for new content, now we have our opportunities in place. We have our keywords picked out. The next step is to update our existing content so that we're targeting the right keywords based on what we identified. So I'm going to scroll back up here and I'm going to unfilter this. We're going to look at all of our pages. And we'll just grab one of our pages here. And so we'll just look at our vests here. So golf vests for men. And so we'll say that's a target keyword. And I'm going to open up this page. Okay, so now this is essentially a collection page. It's a little bit different because this looks like it's a tagged page, which I wouldn't recommend doing, but this seems to be working okay for them. So, but really that's not important at this step. We just know this page, we are targeting the keyword golf vests for men. So the important things that we need to consider here is where we're including that keyword. So this isn't that difficult. This is one of the easiest parts of SEO, but it's really, really important. And it's making sure you include your keyword in the title tag, the meta description, the regular title of the page if it has one, any headings, and then the content. So in this case, if I hover over my browser tab here, this is the title tag for this page. So I can see the title tag is men's vest, tagged vests, and then their brand. So I know right off the bat, this page is not optimized as well as it should be. Because if I hop over, we're targeting the keyword golf vests for men. And we don't say anything about golf in the title tag. We don't say anything about golf in the title here. But we do have this collection content. And this is probably why we're showing up anywhere, is because of this content. And one thing I wanted to mention too is with e-commerce brands, especially in the fashion industry, it's really, really important that you have some sort of content on your different category pages. On Shopify, they're called collection pages. It's really important that you have some sort of content. It can be above the products, it can be below the products, but just like this, like a short paragraph or two, just talking about the content, the products that you have in this category. The reason for that is Google relies really heavily on text content to figure out what a page is about. And if you don't have a massive amount of authority in the space, this is going to be really important to give yourself an extra boost in the rankings. So again, you're going to want your keyword on the title tag, the meta description, any sort of headings you have on the page, and then the text content as well. So this is a good example of a good amount of text content where it's not taken up, it's not like a blog post, but it is showing some relevance for the keywords that we're looking to rank for. So that's important. So make sure you go through all of the different pages where you identified target keywords and actually go in and make sure that you are optimizing those based on the keywords. So that's going to be the next step. Super important to make sure that your pages are relevant for the right keywords. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is technical SEO. So this can either have a really big impact on your brand or it could have no impact on your brand. It really depends on your setup and what kind of issues there are. It could completely prevent you from ranking at all, or it could have such a minor impact. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure your site is actually indexed in Google. And that basically means that Google has found it and is showing it in the search results. So I'm just going to come over, I'm going to copy our domain name. And what you can do is you can just do a site : and then put in your domain name, search. And now what it's going to do is it's going to show all the different URLs that are indexed on this site. So we can see we have 849 results. So we can confidently say that we are being indexed in Google because we can see that. So that's the first step. Just make sure that's the case. If you aren't indexing Google, then we're going to need to kind of do a deeper look to figure out what's going on. The next step I want to talk about is doing a screaming frog crawl. So I'm going to open up, this is a program that will crawl your website and basically just gather all sorts of information about it. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the URL here. And then all you need to do is hit start. It's going to run a crawl on this website, and it's going to give us some data that we can look at to kind of diagnose a little bit further if there are any sort of technical SEO issues that are holding us back. So I'm going to go ahead and run this crawl. Okay, so now the crawl is completed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this information and I'm going to pull it into the Google Sheet file that we have just so we can look at it a little bit easier. So right up here, I'm just going to click export and then we'll go from there. Okay, so now we have all of the data pulled into the Google Sheet file. There's a lot of data here. I hid a lot of the columns just because it is a massive amount of data. And there's a lot of different things to look at, but some of the really important ones to look at is status code column, crawl depth, and unique inlinks. So status code, what I would look for here is I'm just going to go ahead and put a filter on this column. And I'm going to look for everything that is not a 200 status code. And because a 200 status code is essentially means that this is just a normal page that is functioning normal. You can see there are a few here. There's 301 and then there's 404. So I'm just going to click OK. So basically, the meaning of these pages, I have a column here for status that I pulled in. 301 page basically just means that there is a redirect from this URL to a different URL. So basically what you want to do is you just want to look at your 301 pages and make sure that everything is correct and everything's functioning how it should be. One, make sure that page actually should be redirected, and also make sure it's being redirected to the right page. That's really important because if you have a bunch of pages that are redirected that shouldn't be, that's going to really impact your SEO results. A 404 page basically just means that page no longer exists. So for example, if I open up this one, this is a domain name /ambassadors. If I open this up, this is going to be a different URL. So now it is domain name /pages /ambassadors. So that's kind of where that redirect came into play. Where if I open up this page, that's a 404 page. So it looks like that page is actually redirected, but you can see really quickly it started to show the 404 page, but it looks like this site actually redirected this page to be a 301 redirect to the home page. So that's completely fine. But the main point here is you want to look through all of these pages that either have a 301 redirect or a 404 page and just kind of analyze them. Make sure that the redirect makes sense. And just make sure that 404 pages, that those should be 404 pages and that there isn't some sort of an issue that's creating either one of those 301 or 404 errors. So that is one of the things to look at. Another piece to look at is, I'm going to scroll over to the right here, is crawl depth. So what this means essentially is how many clicks it takes to get to the specific page that's referenced here. So I'm just going to go ahead and unfilter this. So we're looking at everything. Let's go back up. So the home page is always going to be 0. It doesn't take any clicks to get to the home page. But what you want to look for is anything that's greater than 3. So your really, really important pages should not be more than 1 or 2 clicks. It's just really important for the structure and Google understanding your website and your pages, and even the importance of each pages, that you don't have it any deeper in your site structure. Because if you have a page that it takes 5 clicks to get to a page, that's a really good signal to Google that page isn't very important. Where if you have all of your important pages are just 1 click away from the home page, it's also a good signal that those pages are important, and that's why they're so accessible. So just look through your crawl depth and scroll down and just take a look. So anything, make sure, I would even look at the pages that are a crawl depth of 3 and make sure that they're not super important pages. If they are, I'd find a way to include them maybe in the menu navigation or something like that so that it takes less clicks to actually get to those pages. So if I scroll down, I can see there's quite a few starting all the way up here that take 4. Scroll all the way down, there's some that take 5 clicks to get to them. So it's just really important. Take a look at those pages and make sure that if they're not important pages from an SEO standpoint, that's fine. You can leave those. But if they're pages that you're working on your rankings and you want to bring traffic to those pages, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you make those pages more accessible. Like I said, you can include them in the menu navigation, in the footer, even internally link from one of your existing pages. Something like that is going to be a good way to bring those up in the site structure so that they're not so deep. The next thing I wanted to look at is unique inlinks. So this is the unique internal links that are going to this page. And so any page that's important as far as ranking goes, you want to make sure that it has internal links. So I see a lot of them are 0, but if you look, it looks like the URL is actually an image. You're probably not going to be doing much for rankings for those, so that's completely fine. But just scroll through and see any of them that have a small amount, and then look at the URL and just figure out, what is this page? Is this something that we actually want to improve rankings for? And if it is, you're going to want to make sure you hit that with some more internal links. So link to that from blogs, link to it from other products. That's a really important piece, because your internal link usage is another really big signal to Google about how important different pages are. If you never internally link to a specific page, why would Google think that that page is important, even in your eyes? So that's a really important factor to make sure that you get that internal linking set up correctly. Okay, now a couple other pieces I just wanted to mention as far as the technical SEO side of things. First one is making sure that your page loads fast and is mobile friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Page Speed Insight. So it says pagespeed.web.dev. Paste your website into there, and we're going to analyze it. And this is going to look at your mobile and desktop. Basically, just how it's performing from a speed perspective and just a performance perspective. So we can look, and it looks like this, for their core Web Vitals assessment, has failed on mobile. On desktop, it has failed as well. So I'm not going to go too deep into this because there's a lot to look at here. But just as real basics when you're looking at this is you can see the different aspects here that it's looking at. And if we look at this, it looks pretty good from everywhere except for this largest contentful paint. So, and if I go to desktop, same thing here. The largest contentful paint is not good. And so you're going to want to make sure that you kind of click into this, learn about it. I'm not going to go too deep into it here, but basically every single one of these, there's a lot of good information about what exactly it is and how you can improve it. So you'll just want to make sure that you go in, figure out where your site is falling behind, and go in and try to fix those issues. And usually if you scroll down, it's usually going to give you a score here, like 7.2 seconds is why it failed, the largest contentful paint, or LCP. And it's going to give you, if you scroll down, it's going to give you some tips, opportunities, what you can do. So take a look at those. I would recommend, if you have a developer, have them look at these, because they're going to have a really good idea of what they can actually do to improve each of these aspects. So that is one more piece for the technical side of SEO. I'm going to hop over. One last thing I want to look at is 404 pages on your site that have backlinks. So basically what that means is any sort of page on your site where you're getting backlinks to another website is linking to your site, and that page is a 404 page. The reason why that you want to avoid these is because anytime that happens, you're not actually getting credit for that link, essentially. You're not that authority that you would have gotten from that backlink. You're not getting when that page is a 404 page. Best way around this is to just, if you have that, is to just redirect those pages. So in SEMrush, in the domain overview, to look at that, you can just click on your backlinks. You can click on indexed pages over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check the box for broken pages. And now just take a look at all of your pages here. So it looks like these aren't necessarily 404 pages. 430, just click into them, because we can see these are broken pages, and we have it sorted by domains, which means these are the number of domains that are linking to this page. And so if these truly are broken pages, we're going to want to make sure we get them redirected so that we actually pass the value from the domains that are linking to this page through the entire site. So it looks like these are just the HTTP version of the homepage. So I'm assuming these are fine. If I open this up, it redirects to the homepage. So that's completely fine. Take a look at this one. This is the only one I'm kind of uncertain on. Open this. This does a redirect. So this is completely fine. They don't have any issues on this site. But if your site's been around for a while, you're probably going to have these. And you'll notice that if you redirect those pages, you might see a pretty good boost in your rankings just from that alone, once Google understands that you actually made that redirect. So that's the last step I want to talk about as far as technical SEO. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is creating new blog content. So far what we've done is we've gone through the keyword research process. We've updated existing content to make our keywords relevant. We've done the technical SEO process. So now we want to look at creating new blog content. So if I come over here, what should have happened by now is you should have gone through and found new opportunities to create new content. So if I sort this by true, I just marked a couple here. But if you go ahead and then copy these keywords that you've selected to create new content for, bring that over to a new tab for new content. And so now we have the keyword, and then we can identify the page type here. So ideally, you're going to have, with the new content, you're going to have some pages where maybe you have an opportunity to create a new category or collection page. But maybe you also have the opportunity to create blog content based on what the keyword is. So that's the biggest thing, is understanding what the keyword is and what type of page you should create. So if we look at this, women's golf pants, this is pretty clearly people are looking for golf pants. They're not looking for informational content. So for page type, I might say that we're going to want a collection page for this. For a lot of these, for this specific example, a lot of these are going to be collection. And a lot of these you might not even have pages where creating a collection page for would make sense, and that's okay. Just when you're identifying those, they generally wouldn't be checked to begin with. So, but what you'd be looking for is some informational keywords people are searching. So if somebody was searching for how to find the right golf pants for me, or how to find your size for golf pants, that might be a good opportunity to write a blog post for. So that, I'll just kind of add that one in here. I'll delete these. We'll say how to find the right size. So page type of blog post would make sense. Also, you can copy over search volume and keyword difficulty. I didn't, but it's helpful to see that information here. But if you need to go back and identify more opportunities, you can go back in here and look at those untapped keywords and find more. And just add those to this list, because then what you're going to have is you're going to have a list of opportunities to create new blog content. And then all you need to do is identify a unique angle. Figure out what is something you can do to create a really, really good piece of content that is going to be better than what's out there. That's a really important piece. That could be, in this case, it could be including a size chart, something that's a visual, something that's easy to look at. And just ideally, it's just going to be helpful for users. So that's going to help you across the board. That's going to help your rankings, but that's going to help you also in the link building side of things. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about. So link building is getting other websites that are relevant to yours to link to your website in some way. It could be linking to your homepage. It could be linking to one of your blogs, one of your collection pages. But a backlink is essentially when you get a different website to link to you. Some of these will happen naturally, but you're going to definitely want to go out and do outreach and try to get as many backlinks as you can. And the best way to do this is to create a really good blog post or asset on your site that is just genuinely helpful for users, and then reach out to bloggers where your resource might be helpful for them and their readers, and reach out to them and just try to find an angle that would make sense. Really look at it from a perspective of what's in it for them. And if you can do that, you can make sure, when you're doing your outreach, you're reaching out to relevant bloggers. In your case, you're going to want to reach out to fashion bloggers. And in this case, this is kind of golf fashion. So they could go a few different routes. They could reach out to fashion bloggers. They could reach out to golf bloggers. Just find relevant bloggers where it would make sense to reach out to them. And mention your resource, and if there's anything in it that you can include for them, you're going to have a much higher success rate. but just see if they'd be willing to link to it. And that's going to be a really, really good way to get backlinks to your site. And then the one last piece to that that's really important is make sure that on your blog posts, you're internally linking to your different products and collection pages that you want to get ranked. Because basically how it works is your entire website has authority that's based on the links, the backlinks that you have and the different websites that are linking to you. Your individual pages also have authority as well. So what you can do though is, for example, your blog post, let's say you write a killer blog post on how to find the right size golf pants, and it's really helpful for users. You're getting a lot of links to it. What you can do to pass authority to other pages is internally link from that blog post to your other pages that you want to get ranked. And what that does is that internal link passes some of that authority that you're getting from the links, and it passes it to those other pages as well. So that's why it's important, any blog post you have that's getting a lot of backlinks, make sure that you're including those internal links to the relevant products and collection pages, because you always want to make sure you're giving, that authority and you're passing that through to as many other pages as you can. So this is a really important step, the link building and the content creation. This is kind of, once your pages are relevant, this is where it becomes really, really important to get this right, to do the link building, to do the content creation, because once your content and all of your pages are relevant for the keywords that you're targeting, then it comes down to authority. If you're not ranking, then you're just going to need to build more backlinks. You're going to need to build more authority to your site. That's really all there is to it. So make sure that you're targeting the right keywords. Make sure your pages are optimized for those keywords. Make sure there's not any technical issues that are holding your site back. Make sure you're creating really good content, and make sure that you're getting backlinks. Getting backlinks to your homepage, your blog posts, even your collection pages if you can. Any sort of backlinks from relevant high authority sites, those are going to be the ones that are really impactful for your SEO performance. Now, if you got value out of this video, but you don't have the interest or the means to implement this yourself, I'd be happy to see if my services would be a good fit for you. I've helped a lot of other brands really explode their organic traffic and revenue with my fashion SEO process. So if this is something you're interested in, book a call underneath this video to talk with me and see if we're a good fit. And then I look forward to talking to you then.